While the cricket world keeps focusing on its concerns regarding the ICC Champions Trophy that's coming up and just how prepared Pakistan is to host this massive ICC tournament without a single glitch, there was another mishap that took place in a bilateral series at home in India that has BCCI and the state government enraged. The second one-dayer between India and England hit a snag when the ground plunged into darkness with one floodlight tower giving up right in the middle of India's run chase. Now, here's one argument. It was a lapse and it could happen. Technology is not the human's most trusted friend, and a technological glitch can happen anywhere, anytime. But here's the thing, it was not a momentary lapse. It was not like the lights went out for just a few moments and came right back on. And even before you could piece out what really happened or really see anything, they came back on. No, that wasn't the case. The Baramati Stadium was in pitch black mode for a good 30 minutes, a half hour in the middle of a match. Nightmare for a packed crowd who has come to witness an international cricket match, for the players who've lost their momentum, lost their rhythm, and have to just sit and wait and go back to square one and start all over again. Of course, especially whenever the situation did get stabilized. Nightmare as well for the broadcasters who had to launch into background programming, something to keep the audience in and not lose out on the viewership ratings. Now, these things should not happen during an international match, and certainly not in a country that is a superpower when it comes to this particular sport. Social media was not kind, responding to this temporary blackout in Cuttack. Now, India and the cricket board here in particular, the BCCI, take great pride in the way cricket functions in the country. All cricket stadiums in India have some of the best infrastructure in place, and the same have been maintained well for decades now. But the glitch has embarrassed the board and a state like Odisha that takes a lot of effort when it comes to developing sport, encouraging sportspersons, and really developing a sporting culture here. No wonder the Sports Ministry of Odisha is livid and has demanded an explanation from the Cricket Association. They've asked the Cricket Association to give a post-mortem on a situation that led to sheer embarrassment, and they have 10 days to do that in, and understandably so. The state has made rapid progression when it comes to developing the state-of-the-art facilities and venues for various sporting disciplines, including getting legendary football manager Arsene Wenger to launch a football academy.
The potential in India is huge because we have a big country, we have a high number of people, 1.4 billion, and that means you have the potential to be on top of the world. That's what we want to achieve together.
India has the potential to be on top of the world, and that was in a state that boasts of heavy investment into sport and developing sport. For them, what happened in Cuttack is an aberration, one that they wouldn't want a repeat of. But cricket mishaps in Cuttack is not uncommon. This is the same venue that has had a fair share of issues in the past. Let's talk about something that in fact occurred during the last one-day match. Rohit Sharma had to angrily gesture to the DJ console to reduce the music that had become annoyingly loud while play was on. The very same thing that India and South African cricketers were subjected to when the two sides played a T20 international in Cuttack way back in 2015. The music was blaring and the stadium had allowed a packed crowd to enter and get up close to cricketers while they were practicing during their training session a day prior to the match. It became quite the nuisance, so much so that the then captain MS Dhoni was forced to complain and get the music turned off, and the crowds dispersed. That match witnessed a horrific incident during the match too, when India was fielding and were on the verge of losing the game to South Africa. A rowdy section urinated in empty water bottles and made them projectiles, throwing them at cricketers on the ground. The game came to a halt with everyone seated at the pitch. No cops or announcements on public system could really contain the crowd on that night, as India eventually succumbed to a loss under chaotic circumstances. It was a horrid show from cricket fans and at a venue such as Cuttack. While we are far away from such a repeat, at least, the same association is under the scanner once again for shoddy management, as the venue fights to retain its status as an international venue.
We're calling the show Vantage. We hope you like what we put together for you. Touted as the minimum defense from that video. India's neighbours were the first to send the special edition of Vantage live from the White House throughout this week. Yes, Hindu Mandir we're on our way to Tel Aviv. Pretty measure, but it's also the perfect way to drive.
I don't think that
Prime Minister of Bhutan, Sherin Tagwe. Welcome to
60% of the world's
office. Prime Minister Modi. Divyan.
we were actually
How are you doing? How do you like? It's been 1 year since that meeting. Iron bars separate you from the outside. Out the vote effort. Trump had, it says, and at $4.3 trillion, 300 billion by 2030. That's what we need to tackle climate change.